YouTube. Hey, look at that. YouTube, where I've always wanted to be. Alright, we're live. Oh, what the hell? Let's show our faces. Oh, good. Somebody's calling me. Good time to call me. What's up, boys and girls?
Another edition of Technical Defects. I'm Joe. That's Ryan. And our guest today is Joey Hamilton, Ink Master Season 3. Thank you very much for joining us, Joey.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
I just have to point something out real quick. Joe, you sound hungover, dude. Literally, you sound hungry as hell, dude.
Yeah. Las Vegas. Been there for about 12 years, so.
Right on.
It's still 104 today or something stupid.
But isn't like 104 like wintertime up there?
No, it actually gets to the 80s. It gets nice where it's not too bad.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's like Florida people.
Babies, you know. Sure.
Yeah, if it's not 90 something, we're not happy. Alright, one of the questions I would like to start off with. How were you selected for the show?
I actually went to California, went to LA for an open casting call. And I wasn't going to go, but some of my friend Walter, Sausage Frank, and this other guy Chris, we all were at the same tattoo shop, and they all were like, hey, let's just go to California, try out for the show. And I had just tried out for another show, and I didn't get selected, so I was like, it was kind of a bad taste in my mouth, so I was like, I don't really want to go. And then we decided to go, and I made it on, so.
Yeah.
Cool, so Sausage knew each other ahead of time, I didn't know.
Yeah, we worked together for 5 years before the show.
Very cool.
Well, I was going to say, is it a lot like other auditions I've seen where were you out there in line waiting with everybody else to go in just one at a time? Is that how it was, or?
I think it was 4 to 5 at a time, and you were in a big, like in a hotel, in a conference room, just all lined up, and you literally had probably 4 to 5 minutes when you sat down to impress somebody fast enough to actually ask for another interview. So
nice.
Just real on that, it was kind of crazy because they said if we don't call you by 6 o'clock, then you're not going to make it to the second day. So we all three went to the movies, kind of hanging out, all looking at our phones, going, no phone call, no text yet. And then probably about 6:45, they called me on the phone, and they said, oh, can you come in tomorrow? And we were already on the way back from Vegas, so I had to fly out there the next day to go back and do the interview. So.
Very cool. So you were selected, and unfortunately they weren't for this round.
Correct. That was the crazy part. You think about it, these guys that are just as good as me, if not better at some things, and you're thinking, well, why? That's the first thing. Is like, why didn't they get picked, and I'm the one that got picked? But, it has to do, like now me being around TV for a while, you can see it's not just about how good you are, how bad you are. It's the whole package. They're very methodical in picking out the one guy that looks this way, and it goes down the line. Like it can be this guy, this guy, this guy, this girl, and it's like a big old puzzle when they're casting a show.
This personality, that personality. Just you kind of meld it all together. You know what? I'm glad it's not my job. I couldn't do that math.
It really is, because it's like I said, being around it now, it's like to see how everything after seeing multiple seasons now too. Like I wore a vest on the show, and then it's like now that the next year another guy wore a vest. You're just like, oh, so it's like you start these trends,
That's great. Have you been keeping up on all the seasons since you were on?
Yeah, I was a big fan of the show beforehand, so I definitely I think it's a cool show. And,
yeah.
I got Walter Sausage on the next season, and Christian actually worked for my shop for a year while he went on to his season. So it's been kind of cool to see, they get vested interest in the shows after the fact. And I'm actually friends with quite a few guys now, too, where Bubba Irwin's on this season, and he went back. So it's kind of cool to watch. And I'm really good friends with Jesse Smith, you know what I mean? So it's always cool to see your friends go back on and compete again.
You're also involved with one episode of Redemption? Or was it 2?
I did 2 episodes. I did one with Lalo, where the military vet guy. I'm a military vet. And messed up flag on him, so they wanted me to be the buffer guy, and then me and Jimmy went back and did one together. And I was probably the most fun I've had filming, because we weren't there to compete with either. He wasn't calling me out. I mean, it was his canvas, and he was kind of being a dickhead. But that's the show. They want the conflict. So once we got past that, it was kind of fun to tattoo with your friend, and we did this massive tattoo on his lower back. So it was pretty neat to just have fun and tattoo.
Right on. So can you go into a little bit of how long it actually takes to shoot the whole season of Ink Master? And a little bit about that process. Are you there 12 weeks in New York, or?
Yeah, it's actually filmed outside of New York. It's very close, where that's why they always get you going and doing challenges in New York City. You're there the whole time. It took my season 2.5 months. Time frame, but yeah, you're sequestered to a building, just like Survivor. You can't leave. Everything's kind of in that building when you're filming. You live in one floor, production's on a floor, and then you're tattooing on another floor. So it's kind of, being ex-military, it was easy for me, but there were guys on there that were like crying within the first 3 days because they missed their family. You're like, dude, I was in Iraq for 9 months in a tent, and you can't handle being gone for 3 days. It's just kind of funny to see how different people act in different situations.
What branch were you in?
I was at Air Force. I was at Special Ops at Herberfield did 10 years, but I was there for 8 years. I got to travel everywhere. I did the weapon systems on the helicopters. So any place there was something going on, usually they sent people over there. So
very cool. Flash challenges. Are these just utterly ridiculous and a pain in the ass?
It is. I'm a photorealism artist, so I tend to look at something and draw something, or I look at something and copy something. So a lot of times I've been painting since high school. So a lot of the tools they're using, I've never used before. You know what I mean? So I felt like that was a little bit of a hindrance. But luckily, like I had already worked with Jimmy Whitlock in another tattoo shop before, so we hit it off right away. Me and Craig Foster were friendly because the guy that he used to work with had tattooed my forearms. So it was like this like right off the bat, like we all three were friends, and it wasn't that we're trying to build an alliance, but we definitely were trying to watch out for each other. And Jimmy would need to shirt off his back. So I felt like in the beginning, and even later on, it really helped me out having him as a friend there. Instead of trying to compete, we were trying to compete in a gentlemanly fashion instead of trying to what they're doing now, constantly like berating somebody instead of being nice to I don't want to say be nice, but just you don't have to cut somebody down to beat them.
Sure, no doubt. You basically dominated the whole competition, which was.
It was funny. In tattooing, in that competition, a lot of it is luck. It's what you get, when you get it, and how difficult the client is. There's so many different little factors. And going back to Jimmy, that's where I felt like a couple times he had, especially later on, and he was giving stuff to people where you could show what you could do instead of trying to give you a hard time. Now it's a whole different beast now. But when I first started that show, Craig Foster, I thought could have won the first 4 challenges. It's funny you say I dominated, but I was sitting there going, I'm gonna beat this guy. But looking back at it, he was getting to do a lot of that was right up his alley. I'm strong as portraits or photorealism and all that kind of stuff. So in the beginning, he was getting to do a lot of stuff that was up his alley. So of course he looked. I was like, man, how am I going to win? But it worked out.
Now, do you feel the judges tend to nitpick a little too much on stuff that actually looked really good?
The judging the critique part, you learn day one. It's not like on TV they show 1 to 2 lines. This is good, this is bad. Okay, so in reality, the critique's probably 15 minutes per person, per judge. So they say the whole gambit of what they like, what they don't like, and then they kind of edit it down to what works for the story. So it's always cool to see what they do, but they'll point out 10 things that are wrong and 10 things that are good, so they can kind of edit that how they want it to play along.
Very cool. Hey, Ryan, do you have that other picture that I sent you?
Oh, I sure do.
All right.
This moment right here. Explain everything that was going on in your head.
Well, it is kind of crazy because they do a whole dress rehearsal the day that it's either that, I think it's that day or day before, one of the two, and everything's on a teleprompter. And me and Jimmy were standing there, and you can kind of see that it says, and you are the Ink Master type of verbiage, and it was a blank right there. So we knew whoever's name they said first was probably going to win at that point. So it was kind of crazy. And honestly, I was very happy to win, but as I turned around, and I took a couple steps back to the back of the thing, then I realized, well, I can't walk off the stage. And then as soon as I turned around, I saw Jimmy, and we'd already talked about it that day before. The best part was that we're friends, and we got to go on there and compete as friends. But the other part is that one of us wasn't going to win. So I felt sorry for my friend for not winning, you know. But I just was happy, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, it's one of those things that's almost surreal. The next 6 hours was like a day as you're at the party and you're get everybody saying congrats and all that stuff. But in that moment, I definitely was happy and proud of what I had done. But it's I don't want to get into anything negative, but I mean, now looking and watching the show and seeing different people win, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have won, but they definitely picked the winners. And I don't know if it's the judges or the production or whatever else, but I look back at my win and go, is it one of those things where they just gave it to me? And I don't want to say anything bad, but it's just like, you know what I mean? It's a competition, and they do it for ratings. And when somebody goes through the whole series and doesn't win one challenge, and then they win the title, you're like, well, how can that guy win? You know what I mean? So there's definitely things out there, even like Ryan Ashley last year. Ryan, great tattoo artist, but at the very end, when they look at the two tattoos and it's Gion's tattoo and Ryan's tattoo, and Dave goes, it took me 30 minutes to figure out what that tattoo was, then how can you say she won? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get into politics and all that stuff, but it's definitely, it's a show, so it's for entertainment value.
Absolutely. Yeah, you didn't get a car, did you? Did you kind of speak to them about that afterwards?
Yeah, I think that twice now they've given away a car. I did get a free trip. They gave out free trip to Oliver and Nunez's shop, and I already own my own shop, so I was like, I'm not gonna. Looking back, I probably should have went and done guest spots at their places, but I didn't go, and they gave me like $7,000 cash instead of going to their shop. So I still got a little bit extra. But yeah, after my season, it started bumping up. It started doing like $10,000 extra. And this year the prize is $200,000. So,
looking back, I probably should have went.
It is a lot. Like, people don't realize you're gone 2.5 months. You have to pay while you're gone. You have to pay all your bills. They're not paying you any money to go do the show. Just very minimal, like $200 a week. So I'm out in Vegas tattooing, and you're making all this money, and then all of a sudden you got to go away. It's pretty hard on the family to suck it up for those couple of months.
Oh, sure. But I mean, it opened up a whole new world for you, I'm assuming. Your phone was probably ringing nonstop as soon as that episode aired.
Yeah, of course. It's like, yes. I'd already done a TV show a couple years before that called Inked. I was on A&E for a season of that show with Carrie Hart. They kind of like dabbled in the one season, and it wasn't a big hit. Or they've talked about it, but nothing's more than that. They came to look at the space. They love the space, and they've used it multiple times. And the guy for doesn't tattoo. A lot of guys in Vegas that own shops don't tattoo, so they don't look out for the artists. Just be about making money. As far as hire a bunch of guys not from Vegas, so they don't understand when they come in here the price points for tattoos are pretty high or higher, and they just like, oh, you're going to make the same amount of money anyway, so why not let us charge $1,500 for 3 hours? And you keep 25 for it, you make the same amount of money. So.
I'll tell you right now, in other industries, it's the same out in Cleveland as it is out there. Trust me on that one.
Yeah.
Now I got a question for you. Let's go a little bit back. Let's jump back a little bit of history. Pre-Ink Masters. At what point did you sit there and go, I'm going to do tattoos? I'm going to do?
When most people do apprenticeships and do all this stuff. And so I really got lucky to get into it how I did, because I didn't get into it the right way technically. He just happened to go, these are the best machines, this is what you need to do, and then that was it. Within 3 months I had a job tattooing at a shop, back in Florida where I was at.
Now you were talking about him having the best machines, things of that nature. Now obviously we're called tech defects, so we like geeky stuff and anything having to do with technology. How has the technology changed from when you started to how it is now? Is it, better regulators on the electrical components, things like that? Or, I mean, has the technology really not changed anything at all?
Everything has changed in the last, I would say, 10 years in my industry. From the quality of the inks to the quality of the bandages. That's one thing. Like, we're using medical grade bandages that are somewhat kind for burn victims that makes your tattoo heal probably 70% faster and less chances of infection and stuff. Nice. But on the machine part of it, rotaries were the first machines actually that were built, and then it went to coil machines, and now it's this back to rotaries. There are so many different things. Like if you're saying you're into tech stuff, there was a guy that posted a video probably a month ago where now there's a power supply that goes on a watch. So you plug your tattoo machine into the watch, and he was sitting there doing a tattoo on an airplane.
That's
like flying and sitting there tattooing his buddy right there on the airplane. So yes, very unsanitary and very unsafe that way. But there are things out there where you wave your hand over a little box and it turns your machine off and on. There's stuff now where you tap the pedal once, because usually before you have to keep your foot on this pedal to have your machine running, because it's all connected with cables. And now you can tap at one time. You can hit a little switch, it stays on all the time. There's so many different little things technically that's the advancements. I don't know how much farther it's going to go. They're going into pins. I was just texting I'm sponsored by FK Irons, the machine builder, and he's coming out with this pen that's going to be just great as far as lightweight, like less damage on your hands. I had a surgery probably 6 months ago where they took out a 3 centimeter cyst out of my wrist. So just I've been tattooing 21 years, so I have all this buildup in my wrist from tattooing, and so the longevity of the careers, everything. I'm even dabbling in bringing medical grade products into the tattoo industry myself. I have a company called MedTat also that we're bringing stuff in. So all these entrepreneur people out there there's kind of, the artists have to realize you can't rely on tattooing your whole career, so you need to kind of branch out. And that's usually the smarter older ones, And you're like, oh shit, I can't tattoo 20 years, 25, 30 years, so I need to figure out how I can make money, from now on. So
yeah, I know how that goes. That's why I started the podcast. Yeah. Anyways,
right?
No, yeah, I mean it's crazy. Like, technology affects everything in terms of that. But when you were talking about bringing in medical grade components, how does that, like? Can you give me just other than the bandages? Can you give me a couple other examples of that type of stuff, like what you're bringing versus what's there? Just a couple examples.
Well, we only have 2 products, and they're both pretty innovative as far as what's out there. Like, just in the regular medical field coming into our tattoo world. We have a solution that you actually tattoo with. Instead of tattooing with distilled water or green soap or witch hazel, we have a hypochlorous solution that's very similar to what's called a wound wash. So it reduces the irritation while you're tattooing, so you can see the colors better, and it kills stuff while you're tattooing. So besides that, that's one of our bigger products. And then we're also, when you think about it, tattoo artists have been using Bounty vapor towels, Viva paper towels, or whatever else off the shelf. And I tattoo doctors all the time and nurses all the time, and I'm just like, just think, I'm wiping this Bounty paper towel on you right off the shelf, and they're kind of like, well, that's pretty gross. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So we've come up with a microfiber cloth or towel, you want to call it, and we call them tattoo wipes. And so we have a pre-packaged 15-pack, one-time use. You rip open the package when you first start tattooing, and you put it on your tray. So it's not a sterile product yet. We're still working on trying to get it as sterile as possible. But just things like that. Like, we're always trying to think of what's something different in the medical field that's not right into our area yet. So, and that's the only two products we have so far. I'm always looking. We've probably had 10 other things come to us, but it needs to be the right thing for us to, because I'm not stupid rich, so it has to be very right for us to invest money into it.
Oh, I figured we were all millionaires. I don't know.
But I don't mean I have it.
Yeah, right. No, that's actually really cool, and it's really cool that you're thinking about life beyond, tattooing. I know a lot of guys out here that's their game plan, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to think about the future. I'm expecting a baby in 3 months. I'm 40. I'll be 49 when he's born. But me and my wife are expecting my second child. So it's one of those things of, I've already been tattooing 21 years, and I love tattooing, and I would love to tattoo 3 days a week and make as much money as I do now. Without having to tattoo 6-7 days a week. So that's my game plan, is to try and open a couple more tattoo shops, build a brand, build the medical tattoo, it's called MedTat, build MedTat up, and, build a brand with Revolt, so.
It's kind of amazing how having a kid, whether it's your first, second, whatever, will just kind of smack you in the head every time and sit there and make you rethink everything. I've got a 2.5-year-old, and just like you, I was like, all right, we got to think about the future. We got to figure this out. She's my only kid, so mine was a little more severe. But we're not going to get into that. Nervous breakdown. No, anyways. But yeah, it makes you think, isn't it? It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's a lot. It's one of those things of, like I said, I'm almost 49, and my wife is 9 years younger than me, and it's my second marriage, and I totally just. She was a fitness bikini competitor for, I think, probably 8 years, and we thought about kids, but she wanted to keep competing, and she loved to compete like I do, and it's finally, she goes, okay, I think I'm done, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, time for the baby. So after years of talking about it, it's like, having to actually, getting to actually go through the process, and we're very fortunate that being at our age, and it kind of came easier for us. So
nice. I'm not anywhere near that athletic. Go ahead, Joe.
Athletic. Did you say you were working 6 or 7 days a week right now, tattooing?
Oh yeah. It's 6 days. I'm working usually 6 days, sometimes 7. I think I worked 21 days straight not too long ago. I'm a grinder. I've always been a grinder, you know what I mean? I love tattooing. I love the money part of it. I've got a lot of responsibilities. This shop has a huge overhead, and I totally just, if there's a task in front of me, I keep my nose down and do it. So, I am getting older, so it's like I'm thinking, today's my day off, and I'm like, man, I like to go shoot guns or go play golf or go do something the average Joe gets to do on the weekends. And I think in the next year to 2 years, I really want to slow down a lot and just enjoy, limit myself on the tattoos so it doesn't wear me out. And maybe I could tattoo 10 more years without, having neck problems or, bad back problems, all that stuff.
Sure. So how many artists are in your shop right now?
I think we have 9, 10 right now. We have 2 apprentices that just to go up. And we actually put the fake wall up and all this stuff, but there's a little snafu with the city zoning. So we have a city council person put us in a big mall. Like Fashion Show Mall is the biggest mall out here right on the strip. So if we do well in that, we could go into that mall. And I just want to prove a brand concept. Tattoo shops are like, why would you want to go into a mall? But I'm like going, why wouldn't you want to go in there? It's automatic foot traffic, and it's a clientele base that wants to go spend money. So, I think it's a smart move. Some other artists don't, but I can't see. I've always been around tourist areas where it's always high foot traffic, so I just can't see why it wouldn't be a no-brainer.
It's one of those things. Tattooing has, and the art form itself has become very mainstream, and the TV show is proof of that in and of itself. So it makes absolute sense for it to evolve into something of that nature.
Yeah. Well, it's already out in Vegas. It's already out here. There's probably 10 casino shops. There's a couple of tattoo shops in different malls.
Yeah.
So we're out here. There's I think 300 shops total. So we're ahead of the curve on probably per capita shops and stuff.
So I'm curious, how long is the waiting list to actually have you tattoo somebody?
I can get you in tomorrow if you're out here.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No, I was going to be tattooing this baseball player tomorrow, and he has to. It's funny how, and I don't want to say anything bad about celebrity people, but when you're dealing with somebody that I don't want to say they feel entitled, but he walked in the shop and he goes, "Can I get tattooed by it?" And I'm like, "Cool, I'll move my schedule around. I'll tattoo you on Monday." And then of course he shoots me a text and goes, "Well, can I get tattooed on Wednesday instead? Because I'm gonna go to dinner." I'm like, "Well, I already had a Wednesday appointment. I already had a Monday appointment. Now you want me to move everything around and get?" So it's kind of funny when things work like that. But I let it roll off and just, like I said, stick my head down and go, okay, well, I'm going to work 10 hours or 12 hours on Tuesday or Wednesday because this guy wants to do it. But, like I said, I'll work.
You know what? There's worse problems to have. That's for damn sure.
A lot of people, you know what I mean? But it's getting back to the actual question. I think it's maybe 5 months. Walter Sausage, he's probably booked out a little bit farther than me. He's been on there a couple times now. And he's got a great base of people, so it's always cool to see people walk in the door and they kind of ignore me sometimes, and I walk up and be like, "Oh my God, it's Sausage!" So it's funny to see that, and you're just like, "What about me?" But but then it goes both ways. Some people come in and ask for me, and so he came in there and he just goes, "I want a little." I guess they had a band. Him and Jonathan had a band before Korn, and Jonathan was with them. And they had like some cool little logo. He goes, "I just want this tattooed on me." So literally, it's like a 10-minute tattoo, but the whole time, like Jonathan Davis is sitting right there and Feedley's sitting right there. They just kind of drew it out, and I just tattooed it on them. And they were super nice guys. And the same with Chester. I mean, sometimes the celebrities have egos, and neither one of those guys had anything. The celebrities that I haven't tattooed, that's probably the ones that had the most egos. I've seen Paul Pierce come in there and say, "I want to get tattooed." Like this was with Jimmy Litwalk actually. He goes, "I want to get tattooed," and the guy just signed a $30 million contract, and he blew him off 3 times. Every time he walked in, he goes, "I want to get tattooed." He'd come back in an hour, and then he would never show up. And he did it to him 3 times, and it's kind of funny when people do. It's not funny, but when people do that, you're just like, damn. It's like you asked me to do something. I had what's his name from Maroon 5? Adam Levine from Maroon 5. He came in the shop 3 times, kind of the same scenario. Like, "I want to get tattooed," and he wanted some special design. But back then, there was no computers in the shops, so there was no way to pull up what he wanted. So I didn't get to tattoo him, but no, it's cool to be around. Like Hart and Huntington always had celebrities in there, from Hulk Hogan to John Lovitz to Don Cheryl Willis. You name it. Carmelo Anthony. he came in there and he wanted to get tattooed. And that day we were filming, and there was some snowboarder I never heard of. They were like, "Joey, we want you to tattoo him." I'm like, "But Carmelo Anthony wants me to tattoo him." So I didn't get to do that one, but you know, it's still cool. You know, he just waved a couple times. He'll walk by and he'd wave at me. So, you know.
So, do you have a dream artist that you had in mind ever to tattoo you? Who is your idol that you would want a tattoo from?
You know, I've gotten tattooed by a couple of really famous artists. I got tattooed by Robert Hernandez, which he's out of Spain, I believe. And good guys. I love skulls. I grew up drawing skulls as a kid, and I had an opportunity to get tattooed by him already. So, and then like you know, Nico Hurtado, who just tattooed The Rock. It's more aspiring to be similar to those guys on their style and what they can pull off on tattoos. As far as wanting to get tattooed by somebody, I don't know right now. Like I don't have anything planned. I just want to kind of finish my arms, the little bit I got left in my arms, you know. So, but there's so many guys out there that are, Stephen Butcher, this guy named Savak is, you know, people walk in and go, "I want to get the St. Michael painting." I just saw it today on my social media, and the guy frickin' nailed the painting. I mean, all the colors, and it looks like a painting it was on the thigh, and I was just like, how did this guy do it, you know? So it's crazy where tattooing is going to go as far as what's the styles and what's being able to be pulled off now. You know, I saw it a little bit ago too. Philadelphia Eddie, somebody posted, "Oh, these tattoos from the 80s from Philadelphia Eddie." You know, how cool they look, and I'm like going thinking, what's it going to be like in 20 years when people are looking at tattoos that we did now, and just, you know, are they going to hold up to the test of time and look as cool as they do now, like they do, you know, back then.
Awesome. Question about Revolt Tattoos. I was watching some of the videos on YouTube, and some great videos. It seems like a lot more comic book characters are coming up. As an artist, how do you feel about that compared to doing your photorealism?
Well, photorealism and comic books are very similar because I'm not drawing the comic myself. I'm just reproducing. Like I'm actually pretty good friends with Greg Capullo, who draws Man. He drew some for Spawn. He's got the DC Metal out right now, and you know, so it's fun to reproduce their artwork. You know what I mean? For me, I've been collecting. It's kind of crazy how that is all out right now. Like DC Metal has probably 15 variant #1 covers, and I got 7 of them. And I'm just thinking, nice. Man, it's crazy how many you got. You know, just #1s. But you know, Sausage does an amazing job doing those too. Like, he actually draws some of his own stuff as far as he'll put together some of the comic book stuff. I tend to, you know, just try and find the best possible one. You know, you got the Wonder Woman in your background. I just did a Wonder Woman off of the comics, but he wanted her whole outfit changed, so I had to go through and find pictures of, you know, the one pose and then kind of piece together all of her other outfits. So, you know, that's how I work a lot. I cut and paste a lot, and I try and manipulate stuff where it's easier for me. You know, I can look at something and draw it, but I mean, I know I can already do that, so I don't want to waste my time. You know, it's point A to point B. How can I get that tattoo to look the best, the fastest? You know.
That is awesome. I watched a bunch of those videos.
Yeah, as far as me and Walls.
Also, so you're out there on Twitter under Revolt Tattoo. I'm sorry, on YouTube under Revolt Tattoos, and Facebook as well. Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah. All of our social media handles for Revolt Tattoos is just Revolt Tattoos.
What does the future hold? Like,
we'll get fixed. That's my 5-year plan, is to prove a concept with the, you know, maybe have 10 different shops in different malls, but make it an interactive experience where you come in and your friends can watch you get tattooed in different countries or different states. But besides that, just trying to grow the medical tattoo supply stuff, and raising my baby. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be, that's really what it boils down to, is try and spend a little bit more time with my family. enjoy that part of it because I didn't get a, my son is 16. I was a grinder, and I didn't get to see too much of it. But I definitely want to be more part of this second one, but just like with Sausage and maybe try and include some other Ink Master people, just trying to grow a brand where people understand that Revolt Tattoos is not going to just hire somebody just to make money. We want to make sure you get the best possible tattoo that you can. But that's about it. I don't really have. I always try and the military focus is there. When I first started out tattooing, it was like I want to be known in Florida. I want to win awards, and then I want to have a shop. And it's always good to set goals for yourself. That's one thing I can say is always try and have little goals for yourself, and that's really just it. I want to have multiple shops in 5 years.
Attainable goals to hit that one big goal.
Yeah. I want to be driving DB9, Maserati, you name it. You know what I mean? Just like every other American where you want to, you see all these fans. I want to, C63 or, S63 AMG Mercedes. Like, I want sports cars and I want to, and it's not that I want a luxurious lifestyle, but I just want to be happy,
Completely understand, but here's the deal. If you get a Maserati, I get to come out there and try to cram my fat ass in there. And we get to film it just because that's going to be the funniest thing you've seen. What's that?
The fun thing out here in Vegas is that they have those. There's like Speed Vegas, and there's a couple of, like, I forgot the name of that one, but you can go drive the high-end sports cars around the track as fast as you want,
Yeah.
So you could rent it for a day.
What do they charge for the Crisco to get me in the damn things?
Well, they got a shoe.
Jaws of life to get me out of them. Joe, you got anything?
Yeah, I really do, actually. The tattoo artists, you guys are so popular now. You're doing tour dates and everything. It's almost like a geek version of Comic-Con. You guys make appearances at different places, tour. Can you tell us some of your, or talk about some of your upcoming events, please?
Yeah, definitely. It's very true. Like, and I know artists that have went to Comic-Con now that are trying to branch off into comics and stuff too, or they'll tattoo. Like, there's I got a tattoo 2 years ago at the Star Wars celebration in Anaheim. So it's kind of crazy that they're kind of melding, like Walker Stalker and all this stuff is kind of coming together. But I personally like going to Canada quite a bit because our celebrity up there is probably worth a little bit more than it is down here. And, they'll fly me out there. They kind of like more of the stupid ones. When people go, "What's the stupidest tattoo you done?" I had a guy ask me this. 2 different guys asked me this. When the guy walked in and goes, "I want to get an eyeball, a heart, and then a set of tits," like the little pictures back in the day. And it was like the second time the guy asked for it, before he even got to the tits part, I said tits. He goes, "I want an eyeball, heart." I said, "A set of tits?" so it is kind of funny when everybody just gets something unique to themselves, and that's the joy of tattooing, is that it's never the same, and I'm kind of glad I went down that way instead of painting or doing something else with my life, that I get to touch people's lives by doing something. But then you just deal with these eccentric people that are like, wow, where did this guy get that they want to get this on their arm for the rest of their lives? But everybody's got a story, they say. So
the adult in me thinks that's fantastic. The 12-year-old in me thinks it's absolutely goddamn fantastic.
Right. Twice I've done it. That's the crazy part.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Both their first tattoos. And I'm just like, yeah. That's like one guy
I gotta ask another question.
Oh, jeez.
Right. There's so many things that, we got Joey Hamilton on here. It's how many times do people come up and say, "Hey, can you fix this?" Or is that a regular thing?
Yeah, no, it's common. Especially being on the show and they see what we could do. It tends to get a lot of that. But honestly, in my career right now, I don't want to do too much of that. I want to try and create more. I wouldn't say unique, but I just want art that I want to do. You know, I think really next year when I say I'm going to try and tone it down some, where I'm not just taking everybody that walks in the door. I want to do things that I want to do. You know, so you know, but we get a lot of questions like,
Joe, and
thank you.
we're at.
And I've got nothing funny to add, guys.